The last man in red, Pecco Bagnaia's war without witnesses. The pit box is silent now. No champagne, no arms lifted in triumph, no crowd flooding with red flares. Just Pecco Bagnaia, sitting still in that familiar Ducati corner. Same leathers, same bike, but everything around him has changed. The walls whisper reminders of glory, yet today they feel like tombstones. Two-time world champion, king in 2022, ruthless in 2023. But in 2025, a man left to wrestle shadows. Let's not sugarcoat it. This isn't a redemption story. Not yet. This is a story about staying in the fire long after your skin starts peeling. About standing alone in the room you once ruled, the same room now crowded with ghosts who won't speak your name. And if you're looking for drama, here it is. Francesco Bagnaia might have come from Valentino Rossi's bloodline, the VR46 Academy royalty, but don't mistake that for loyalty tattooed across his chest. The man has celebrated others' triumphs. Fabio Quartararo's coronation in 2021, Jorge Martin's revenge tour ending in gold in 2024, with a half smile and a genuine nod. No envy, no fake grins, no under-the-surface rage. That's who he is. But maybe, just maybe, that dignity cost him his throne. Because MotoGP doesn't reward class, it rewards killers. And now, Pecco Bagnaia stands in Ducati red, a champion without an empire. The crown's still warm, but someone else is already wearing it. And that someone is his own damn teammate, Marc Marquez. The weight no one sees. Here's the thing about being at the top. Everyone expects you to stay there like gravity doesn't apply. 2 world titles aren't enough. You don't get to rest. And the moment your lap times slip, the moment your front end starts folding in corners where it never used to, they circle. Commentators, fans, engineers, the internet, they all smell blood. Pecco's crash count in 2024 was already dragging behind him like chains. When 2025 opened, he tried to reset, but the fire was different this time. It wasn't rage-fueled, it was weary. There's a difference. And he knew it. But did he stop? Hell no. He rolled into Qatar and Mugello, knowing the bike wasn't working the way he needed. He didn't whine, he didn't throw it under the bus. He rode that beast like a soldier who lost faith in the war but not in the uniform. What this really means is he hurt, and not in the usual athlete on a bad weekend kind of way. He was broken, totally. That was his own word, broken inside. Let that sink in. 2-time world champ, broken inside, still suiting up every weekend like nothing was fractured. That kind of resilience, it doesn't make headlines, but it builds legacies. The invitation that turned into isolation. Flashback to late 2023, the Ducati press conference where Pecco Bagnaia stood in front of the world and welcomed Marc Marquez into the factory team. No grudge, no insecurity, just open arms and a smile. He'll help us grow. He meant it. You want proof of character? That's it. You don't just invite a 7-time champion into your garage if you're scared of shadows. But what Pecco didn't see coming was this. Marquez wasn't coming to help. He was coming to conquer. And now, a few months into 2025, Pecco's pit box feels like a battlefield after the battle's been lost. Marc owns the headlines. Marc gets the tent packed with engineers. Marc gets the Ducati paddock to walk a little taller, because when he's there, they know they've got the baddest man on the track. And Pecco? He's fighting a different war. Not against Marc, but against that voice inside that whispers, they've moved on. There's no betrayal here, just truth. Ducati's future is orange and red. Marc's number 93, surrounded by lightning. Pecco's number 1? It feels more like a reminder now. A symbol of what was. But he doesn't rage. He doesn't implode. He rebuilds. The Sachsenring gamble, desperation or genius? Germany, July 2025. A track where balance matters more than brute force. Pecco shows up with a new card to play. A new chassis, pulled from Ducati's test sessions like a forgotten sword from the stone. Why? Because the old bike doesn't listen anymore. It slides when it should stick. It bites when it should glide. So Pecco takes a risk. He sacrifices time attack prep to test this thing. While others gun for Q2, he's crunching data. Everyone sees the gamble. Some call it desperation. But if you've ever ridden at that level, you know this. Gamblers don't play with dice, they play with pain. He snuck into Q2, ninth fastest, barely. But it wasn't about qualifying. It was about finding feeling again, even if it was for one session, one corner. He said it himself. It gives a lot of grip, helps the bike turn, but the front moves a lot. Translation? It ain't perfect, but it gave him something he hasn't felt in weeks. Feedback, connection, possibility, and that matters more than pole position. That's survival. Studying the enemy like a scientist. When Digia broke the Sachsenring lap record tailing Marc, Pecco didn't sulk. He studied. He dug into the telemetry, watched the traces, absorbed the braking patterns, and he said it plain. It was scary, very good. Here's what most people won't tell you. Champions don't just ride fast. They steal. They dissect. They learn. The ego can't survive if you want to evolve. Pecco's the kind of guy who'll stare at another rider's brilliance, swallow his pride, and say, "Show me how." That's why he's still dangerous. But here's the twist. He doesn't like following. He never did. He said, "I don't like following others." Because when Pecco rides, it's not about mirroring someone. It's about setting the rhythm, being the metronome of the grid. Still, this year has humbled him. And instead of cracking, he adapts. That's not weakness. That's championship behavior under fire. No fireworks, just fire. When Fabio won in 2021, Pecco clapped. When Jorge finally got his crown in 2024, Pecco smiled again. Both times, he could have been bitter. He had the bike to beat, but it didn't happen. And still, no excuses. No cheap quotes. No, "we deserved it more" nonsense. Because Pecco isn't built like that. But maybe that's the tragedy. In a world that rewards headline-grabbing egos, maybe being decent is a losing hand. And now, he's in the same box with the man who thrives on psychological warfare. Marquez doesn't just win. He dissects you before the flag even drops. His presence alone changes the atmosphere. He's not your teammate, he's your executioner. So Pecco finds himself alone, not because they hate him, but because he won't play their game. He's not crying foul. He's not seeking sympathy. He's just riding. Broken, maybe, but never bent. What it really means to be a champion. 2 titles don't happen by fluke, but the third, that's the one that breaks men. Because by then, you're not the underdog, you're the hunted. And in 2025, Pecco became prey. But there's something he's got that they can't measure on timing sheets. Grit. When you ride through injuries, when you don't snap after DNFs, when you don't throw a teammate under the bus. That's not for the cameras. That's for the mirror at night. He's never said it out loud, but it's written all over his riding style this year. If I go down swinging. Even if Ducati quietly reorients around Marc. Even if the VR46 Academy starts grooming the next wonder kid. Pecco's not flinching. He's out here fighting a private war. Not for points, not even for the title anymore. Just to prove something deeper. I still belong. And in MotoGP, where everyone eventually gets forgotten, that might be the fiercest battle of all. The silent legacy. They won't name a corner after him. Not yet. He doesn't throw helmets or stomp through the paddock. He doesn't cry into microphones. He just shows up, does the work. An old-school warrior in a new-age circus. The young ones don't study him because he's flashy. They study him because he's consistent, surgical, calm under fire. When others crack, Pecco recalculates. And here's the brutal truth. This season might end without a trophy. No fairy tale, no last lap miracle, but he'll still ride like it's his last day on Earth. Every time. And that's why you don't count him out. Because some champions roar. Others bleed quietly. But they all burn the same. Pecco Bagnaia's 2025. The year of the lonely warrior. So now we circle back to that red pit box. The one with the faint smell of champagne from days gone by. The one with Marc's name echoing through the walls. The one where Pecco Bagnaia sits alone staring into data, carving out tenths of a second, fighting a war no one else can see. He won't complain. He won't ask for your tears. Because the war he's fighting? It isn't against Ducati, or Marc, or Jorge. It's against time, against irrelevance, against the noise trying to rewrite his story. And every time he fires up that Desmosedi, he writes another line in that script. Pecco Bagnaia, the quiet killer, the resilient king, the man who gave the paddock dignity when it didn't deserve it. They think he's done? He's just getting started. Because real champions don't beg for redemption. They ride into it. Winter is coming.